Alright, we're finally at the end of 2020, and I want to ask the question today that if you're looking for a Fender product, do you really need to look any further than their American Professional II line? Let's find out. Alright folks, Jack here from Peach Guitars, and as I say, we finally made it. We're at the end of the year, and it's been a very strong year actually for the guitar gear industry. Despite numerous setbacks that manufacturers have had to make and suffer through, it seems that a lot of them have fared well. Very few, in fact, better than Fender guitars. They've had an incredible year, they've put out some brilliant products, but for my money, and I think I speak for most of the guys here at Peach Guitars, I think that what they've done with this year's revamp of the American Professional lineup of guitars, now the American Professional II, is pretty much the best product set that they've put out in many years, not just this year. And I'm going to explain why, although I have done a more fully featured, spec-heavy overview of this series when it came out a couple of months ago. So if you want more of the spec details, check that video out, it'll be linked below. But now we're a couple of months on since these guitars came out. Have our thoughts really changed with the introduction of some new models and some new finishes too? Let's dive in and see what's new. So, when the American Professional II came out, I think it shook a lot of people back to kind of thinking of Fender for what they were always best known for, which was a company that was steeped in its roots, but still had some forward-thinking ideas that they wanted to express in their guitars. They're not all about their heritage, they're also very keen on modernizing the player's experience. Now, sometimes players can maybe distance themselves a little bit from that modern idea. Fender have had their American Ultra lineup out for just over a year now, and that's proved to be very popular for players who want maximum playability and modern refinement, maybe at the detriment of some vintage tonal features. The American Original series, of course, fulfills that need perfectly by adhering strictly to the design ideals that Fender had in the 50s, 60s and 70s. The spot right in the middle is that Goldilocks spot that a lot of guitar players look for. And yes, it's a huge cliche to say that a product offers vintage tone with modern performance. But I think that in Fender's case at least, the American Professional II is really the tick in that exact box. So like I said, we've covered more of the new features of this series in the previous video, but what we've got here a couple of months down the line is just further refinements, further tweaks, and some further additions to the lineup. So I've got 5 guitars here today that you're going to hear clips of, some of which you will have heard before. There's no changes to the specs in terms of the American Professional Strat and Telecaster, but we see a couple of new additions to the lineup this time round in the form of the American Professional Jazzmaster and the American Professional Telecaster Deluxe, and probably my favourite of the bunch is this new colour. This is Dark Night, and this is featured on the American Professional II Strat. This guitar seems to have created quite a few waves on the internet, with a lot of people really either loving or hating the look of this guitar. I personally really like it, but let me know in the comments what you think of the Dark Night finish in particular. If this finish isn't to your taste, of course, there are plenty of other new finishes available in the American Professional II lineup, such as Mercury and Mystic Surf Green, modelled either side of me here, that will probably be more to your taste. So the other thing about this lineup that really strikes me is that I think this is probably the best value that you can get out of Fender at this kind of price point. It's really Fender throwing everything that they know and have learned from decades and decades of guitar building into this one product line. And like I say, you can veer more to the vintage school or you can veer more to the modern contemporary school, but the American Professional really sits right in the middle. And there's a lot of evidence in this guitar lineup that Fender know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly what their customers more than likely want to fulfill the most kind of widest range of players' needs as possible. So just taking this guitar for example, the American Pro Strat, not a whole lot has changed, but everything that has changed has only been done to benefit the player, and it's kind of under the hood tweaks. So aesthetic differences aside, you've got a new deep C neck profile on this guitar with slightly changed narrow tall frets now. You've also got the same two-post tremolo, which has worked an absolute treat in American standard and American professional guitars for decades now. But under the hood, there's the new V-Mod 2 pickups, and one of my favourite features on all these guitars, and it works slightly differently on every model, is a push-push control on the tone control, which allows you to do different things with the electronics on each different model. On this 3 single coil Strat, for example, it adds in the neck pickup to any of the lower pickup positions. So for example, you can hear in the clip, when I'm on the bridge mode, you can activate the neck pickup as well and get a pseudo tele wiring setup for your American Professional Strat, which is unique to this lineup as far as I know. It's something that's pretty cool, and it just broadens the horizons for the players once again. You've also got some stuff that enhances the comfort end of the scale as well, like the contoured neck heel on every guitar design, and you get the luxury appointment of a proper hard shell case, as modelled here to my right. Same deal here with the revamp to the American Professional lineup, but with the Jazzmaster model, I think some of the differences are more obvious. For example, the rhythm circuit has made its return, which is a favourite of Jazzmaster players. I personally don't really know why they got rid of it on the first iteration of the American Professional, but it's back, and hopefully it's here to stay. It works very, very well. You've got the classic Jazzmaster style bridge and tremolo circuit setup, which works very, very well. You've got enhanced brass saddles on this guitar now for extra tuning stability. You've also got that same push-push tonal tweaking circuitry going on here, which taps the bridge pickup on this guitar. So you can get a nice bit of extra tonal variety out of this particular iteration of the Jazzmaster than you could do on previous versions. It's also sporting the Mercury finish, which for my money anyway, looks the best on the Jazzmaster out of all the lineup. It's a great finish anyway, but I think it suits this guitar down to the ground. Okay, and lastly, we've got the addition now of a Telecaster Deluxe, which for some people, it may or may not work for you aesthetically to have humbuckers in a Telecaster, but the option is there for those who want it. And tonally speaking, I think this is one of the standout pieces of this lineup, because you've got individual taps for each humbucking pickup, which happen to be Fender's wide range design, which sounds great anyway. You can tap this and get more of those traditional Tele style tones, very convincingly in fact, and you're going to hear a couple of clips of me using this in kind of a Tele custom fashion, using the neck humbucker with the bridge in the tapped mode combined. You've got a million different tonal variants. I always think that with 2 humbuckers and 2 volume controls you can just do so many things. And to add into the mix individual taps for each as well, the tones just continue to expand. Comfortability on this guitar as well with the all maple neck and fingerboard I think works very, very well. So whether your preference is for maple maple or maple rosewood, you're going to be well catered for in the comfort department as well as having the tonal benefits of each of those setups. So this isn't a huge overview video, like I said, we've already done that. Go back and check that out if you haven't seen it already. This is just an update, and I still think that a couple of months down the line, this is one of the strongest product lineup Fender's ever had, let alone being in one of the strangest years in recent history that they managed to pull it off. I think it's worked very, very well, but I want to know in the comments section below what you think of the American Professional II lineup of guitars. Is it enough of an upgrade over the outgoing American Professional to justify the upgrade, or is it the best guitar that you've ever heard and seen? Who knows? I'm sure there's a lot of opinions out there, so I want to know in the comments below what they are. If you've enjoyed this video, by the way, please remember to leave a like and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any content from us in the future. And if you feel so inclined, ring that bell so you definitely don't miss out on any content in the future. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon.